Whoop, whoop, whoop. Yeah, she got stuck. Good morning. Well, it's not morning. It's like 2 o'clock. But I'm up here acting like it's morning. Well, today we're gonna do that t-shirt quilt. This is my 3rd one. I just the other day finished binding the 2nd one. You know, the quilts where I'm not getting paid enough. I'll put the video up here somewhere. Yeah, so anyhow, some of you asked me how I Frankensteined my batting. And so what I do is I get like batting. This is another piece of batting, and this is a piece of batting. And what I do to the batting is, do you see how it's kind of like rigid, ragged? I'm going to, I hope this is not the wool one. Do not buy Pellon wool batting. It's hand washed batting. Who hand washes batting quilts? You see all this ridges? I'm going to get my ruler and just straighten them out. And so that's what I'm gonna do. And I'm gonna get this quilt ready to start long arming it. But we're gonna Frankenstein batting. We're gonna Frankenstein this girl. And you have to have a lot of batting, okay? A lot to do this. Well, if you're doing baby quilts or throws and stuff like that, you don't need to have a lot of batting, but for that queen size quilt, you need a lot. So I have this huge long piece. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hold it together like this and this, kind of like that, where all the seams line up, and you were just hearing my bobbin. Then I'm gonna trim this bottom part straight as I can get it, or even I can get out. Like here's a shorter piece, so I'm gonna have to kind of come up a bit so I get all 4 pieces. So I'm gonna bring you down. Here's my little tiny cutting mat, and then I'm gonna fold it smaller. Love this big ruler. This is the 24 by 5.5 ruler. I use this all the time. So if you want to buy a ruler and you don't want to buy a lot of them, so this is where they seam. And then I use the large rotary cutter because it has that bigger space. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You just want it as straight as you can get it. Kind of like that. And these little tiny ridges don't matter. And then this is your scrap leftover. So then I'm gonna put this on the quilt, and it's a long piece. And now I have 2 straight edges. Do you see that? Scream, bumpy side facing down. Then get the quilt top. It's good to evaluate the piece. Like this is a long, pretty thick piece, or you can have like this piece. It's like a square. The good thing about this one is I could cut in half and elongate it, and then it'll be a long strip. Or if I want to just chunk it up on one side and then do longer strips in the opposite direction. So evaluate the pieces that you have. You're gonna need interfacing. This is a really lightweight interfacing. I used it to stabilize the shirts. It costs like $1.99 if you go to Joann's with a coupon. It's only like a couple dollars or $1 if that. I remember buying a whole bolt of it. Now I do trim this down about 1 inch or 1.5 inches or 2 inches depending on the day, the mood, the hurry. And then I get a toilet roll and I roll it. And so I have this. This is specifically for putting the batting together. And then I'm gonna go ahead and turn my iron on, and I already cut myself a couple pieces. Now doing this does take time because to get the batting put together is a pain. but it does use all your scrap batting, all of it. And I want this one. And so you kind of just fajigger. I have this random weird shaped piece that will fit perfectly right here. Now I need to trim it and kind of straighten it, like the edges, and then, but I could use it right here in this spot, and then I have a long piece that goes across. So let me do that. So it's a weird, random weird piece. It really is weird. I'm gonna put it here. And this weird random piece that I probably wasn't gonna even use. That is a weird fold there, but no one's gonna notice it. Now I'm gonna do this side. We'll clean up all the weird thread. I don't know if you see that. I got it pretty straight. I need to straighten it a little bit more. And then that's pretty straight, kind of, pretty close. Then I'm having to be careful with this button. Yes, it is a pair of underwear. Oh my God, my life. T-shirt fabric is really a pain to quilt because even though it's interfaced, sometimes it will it'll do this. I ironed this down and I'm having kind of like where the interfacing unglued and then it re-glued. So I'm having to kind of work this fabric flat. So when it comes, when the long arm comes here, I'm going to be doing the finger walking. And I don't want to move anything too much because I already removed this off of the computer. It's right there. I think these are close. Make sure that this doesn't pull on this seam, even though it is a closed seam. I have to just keep an eye on it because of how it quilts. But I don't know, if you see fullness, you see fullness? But look how good and straight the line on the long arm it is. It's a nice straight line. It's bowing down, angling a little bit on that border, but it's not bad. But this is where I'm gonna have to be on top of it and move the fabric to where it needs to move so that I don't get pleats. And one of the ways you can do that is just kind of like move it here, and you're moving the thread or the fabric inside the stitch, like you can move that. You see how I'm pushing the fabric? And it's stitching around. Oop, oop, oop. Yeah, she got stuck. So it got stuck here because of all the layers, and then I'm going to have it to go forward, and I'm having it doing it without the machine moving, and then I'm going to restart. So this is what it looks like. I'm going to trim this off. This seam is a pretty thick seam, so I have to be careful when it comes back, because right here the machine got jammed. Yeah, my machine doesn't really ever get jammed, but it got jammed there. Then I'm going to move this way. Then this is going to go into this seam. Oh, it did pleat. Do you see this? I'm going to have to fix that. That's not okay. So this is where it's getting caught. So I like these because they have that hook. You hook the thread. So you see how I'm moving this in this direction? So when I go back and stitch this down, it'll go like this. and they'll be within this groove. I'm not touching the design because it's vinyl, but I'm hovering and putting steam on it. And see how it flattens it? I'm not touching it. She's a lot flatter. But it's called the hover. I call it the hover steam. Look how flat she is now. And so some of the vinyl shirts, you can't really put the iron on it, but you can hover over it. And then let me show you. I moved the fullness kind of towards this thread line, so I have a flatter surface to quilt when I come back up. So I may come back and then make it wider. I'm gonna custom do that stitch instead of having the computer do it. So I'm going to restitch it going this way all the way down. I'm going to kind of use this ruler to use as a guide. And then I'm back to the stitch that I was at. I just kind of came wider than the original design and then ended up back to where I was, and the fullness is now within here, not within the face like it was. All right, I wanted you to see this. Do you see that? I turned away for like 3 seconds. So I'm gonna have to unstitch that and straighten it and then just resew it. Your quilts are a little bit more high maintenance.